Alright, so it's been a while since I've talked about Kagurabachi. I haven't been able to do videos in a little bit, but I'm here now, and I'm ready to talk about the new chapter, but I gotta say, it is a heavy chapter. Like, man, it's quite a bit to take in. But before I talk about the new chapter, I do want to give a brief recap about my thoughts from the previous two chapters I didn't talk about, at the very least. But I'm mostly just gonna focus on Hakuri because this chapter is definitely focused on him, and honestly, he's really been the main focus of the last three chapters, anyways. So I do want to reflect on what's been going on and share just a bit of my thoughts before I talk about the chapter as a whole. So, leaving on from where I left off last time, Chihiro manages to get to Hakuri's location, hurting Soya in the process. And of course, this just pisses off Soya. He's like, enough, you're dead. And that's when this surprised me, right? Because Hakuri steps up and he's like, Chihiro, go ahead, I'll take care of this. And I got pretty hyped. I was like, oh my god, Hakuri's actually going to step up and try to deal with his brother on his own. Which is like some great development for Hakuri. He realizes that Chihiro's mission to try to stop the auction is far more important than anything else. So, he'll be the one to take this over. Chihiro, go finish the fight and just believe in me. And I was like, Hakuri, I love you, man. This is such a big moment for him, right? And that's basically how chapter 33 concludes. So, following up from that, with chapter 34, we see a flashback of Hakuri and his brother, who attend their grandfather's funeral. Their father talks about how his power got passed down to him, and in the future he'll pass down his power to his own sons. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that would work. He would probably have to choose one of them, but eventually it will be passed down. After the flashback, we see more Hakuri trying to tell Chihiro to go ahead, and man, I gotta give him props for this, because he's like, you said it yourself, we have to get moving, it's for the best, and I have to do this. I have to put my life on the line to settle this once and for all. That's when Chihiro manages to agree with him and he goes on ahead. Then, by the end of the chapter, we see this amazing panel of Hakuri and Soya just facing each other down, with both of them saying, Iso! And we get this incredible panel of just two brothers facing each other off. Like, I really do love Hakuzona's art. This is really clean. And now that brings us on to the current chapter. So, the chapter starts off with Hakuri going to the warehouse, meeting a woman, and he's trying to feed her. Make sure that she's healthy and ready to go to the auction. She refuses the food at first, and Hakuri says one way or the other she will eat the food, even if he has to do it by force. And if it doesn't work out, he'll just give her an IV. This is where the lady responds and says that normally people eat together, and she didn't want to eat alone. Hakuri saying, well, we can't do that because of your abilities. So Hakuri says because of that ability you're not able to eat with anybody else. So she suggests that Hakuri eat with her, or at least keep her company while she does eat. So he agrees, and he ends up staying behind, watching her over as she, consumes her food. That's where she notices that Hakuri has an injury, and she asks him about it. He mentions that his older brother, Soya, manages to bully him and hurt him. He actually used pliers to hurt him, which is insane, by the way. I thought it was just, physical abuse through his own fists. No, Hakuri mentions that he occasionally loses items, and some of the items that he loses, he uses that to basically torment and bully Hakuri, which is just really sad. I was thinking the whole time that maybe Soya is the type of character that, treats Hakuri badly because maybe he has like some sort of potential or something and he wants him to be stronger or whatever. But using stuff like pliers and just other types of objects to bully and really hurt Hakuri, I don't think there's a reason behind this. I think Soya is just a psychopath and a lunatic. Like, this man doesn't really have any feelings about his brother other than having to use him as like a punching bag or something. That's when the lady uses her abilities to heal up Hakuri's wounds, and she tells him that they're both rejects, and she suggests escaping together, with Hakuri saying, nah, you're just trying to trick me. And she's like, well, you got me. But I'm not wrong. We are both rejects. We're both treated horribly. It would benefit both of us trying to escape. With Hakuri saying that he kind of deserves this because he himself is weak. It's his fault for being useless. He can't do anything. Well, not anything properly, so at the very least, he can do what he can. That's why he really wanted her to eat the food, because that's just the very minimum that they expect from him, and he doesn't want to be seen as completely useless, which is just sad. Like, the family already treats him like hell, and he's just trying to find any form of acknowledgement, even if it's something minor like trying to feed, well, any of the prisoners they have in the warehouse. Then, afterwards, it became somewhat normal for Hakuri to visit this lady and give her food, sit down, and just talk. But what sucks the most is that the more he joined up, I guess the more beaten up he would get. And obviously, there's not anything he can hide. She even asks what happened, and he's like, nothing, it just went on longer than usual, which is just such a sad response. And he's like, intake is tomorrow, this is your last meal, so go on, this is my job. And he just sits there, depressed. And she asks him, why do you take it? And he says, I deserve it. I can't do an SO. I can't do anything. I'm nothing special to the Sassanami clan. That's when she gives a heavy response. She says, you're the one imprisoned in a cage. Living in such a tiny space, you lose sight of your true value. And Hakuri responds, true value? What value do I have? And her response is, you talk with me. Thanks to you, I've enjoyed these meals. That's where Hakuri says, let's eat again together today. But she's like, you said yesterday was the last time. And he says, no, outside. Let's go eat. He has the key and he's ready to let her go. And she's like, I was hoping to win you over. Change of heart? And Hakuri says, 100%. That's when we move on to the fight, and oh my god, this caught me off guard. Well, I wasn't really expecting Hakuri to win, at least right off the bat, or anything like that. But to have this flashback end with Soya just completely destroying him and just beating him into the ground, and seeing Hakuri just bleeding and possibly even coughing up blood, this is just not a sight to see. This hurts. And Soya says, so you can use a little sorcery. Don't get carried away. You're still no match for your big brother. The members of the Sassanami clan are all highly skilled, but they aren't adored. If you insist on becoming like that, then maybe you're better off going bye-bye. While you're still lovable. Okay. Soya really is insane, oh my god. Back to the flashback though. Hakuri opens the door and he's like, sorry to keep you waiting, let's go. That's when he's surprised to see her with a knife. And she's like, I found it. Must be in merchandise, right? And Hakuri's like, no, I mean, why? And she says, this is why I wanted to get out of my cell. I'm sorry for using you, but you refused to let me starve. From the very beginning, I wanted to die. There's no point in living with skin like this. And Hakuri says, but your skin soothed my injuries. And she says, the person I loved the most said things like that at first. But after a while, he sold me. The same thing always happens. I already know. Because of my skin, people always abandon me. My only worth is as a curiosity or a tool. Even outside of this cage, there's no hope. And Hakuri just pleading, he's like, wait, we talked together. And then he really thought about it. He sold me. That Kagurabachi had destroyed her heart. I killed her. That's when he remembers her words. Was everything you said to me a bunch of lies? That's where we see the final panel with Soya getting ready to go away. But then he turns his head and looks back. And we see the pliers in the middle panel right here. And then Hakuri, we see that Iso is still active. And that's where the chapter ends. And just based on this, it seems like Hakuri's gonna get back up. He's not done fighting yet. But, man, this gave a lot of perspective to Hakuri's character. Who he was, what he's become now, and what he's going to become after. Like, before we saw that he would do anything to impress his family, or, be useful to them. Then, we saw that, he got away from the family, and he wanted to do something to bring down the auction. He meets Chihiro, and he does his best to help them. He basically found a new family that he wants to protect and be with. And now after, he wants to be the one that stands on his own. He doesn't want to be the one that's protected. He wants to be the one that protects others and fight on his own. And I have to continue to praise Hokuzono because this is some amazing writing we have for Hakuri right now. Every new chapter has added so much more to his character. I actually think Hakuri is the most developed character in the series right now. maybe a bit more than Chihiro himself. Like, this is incredible to see. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like Chihiro is, he's not getting any development or he's doing bad or anything. No, I think Chihiro's development is fantastic. But there's just so much more when it comes to Hakuri. Like, this is truly something incredible. And it just makes me so happy because, I wanted Hakuri to continue to develop, but all of this is happening a lot sooner than I thought, but not in a bad way. It's all happening organically. And it's just, it is a wonder to see. It makes me even more excited to see the next chapter, and the one that follows after that. I've gotten genuinely excited to see more of this character, and how he's going to continue to evolve. Like, when the auction goes down, like, what's going to happen to him after that? Because at that point, he will have successfully taken down his family. And, of course, he's not going to go back to them. He's likely going to stay with Chihiro and the gang. And how he helps them and, manages to improve his own sorcery, that's going to be a delight to see. Of course, after this, we're going to focus on other characters, and that's fine. But I'm still excited to see more of this character. And the fact that we're getting any of this at all is just, it makes me so happy. Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I wasn't really expecting to like Hakuri this much. Like, despite how much I'm enjoying all of the material we're getting about him, I wouldn't say he's still my favorite character. I think my favorite character in the series still goes to Char. But my god, I can't get enough of this character. I can't get enough of Hakuri. I seriously love everything Hokusan is doing with him. And I hope I'm not alone with this. I know there's a lot of, praise for Hakuri online, especially, in the community. But I feel like maybe I'm going a little crazy with it, but like I genuinely do love him. He's awesome. And I cannot, I know I sound like a parrot, but I cannot wait to see how we continue from here. Because when he stands back up and he tries to fight against his brother again, win or lose, I'm going to say it right now, win or lose, this is a big moment for him, and I cannot be more proud. This is wonderful. But yeah, I'm not sure if he'll actually win once he gets back up, if he gets back up, but you've already reached GOAT status in my opinion. You're a sick character, Hakuri. You've proved your worth, and I just could not be more proud of you, man. But yeah, I think I've rambled on enough about Hakuri and how much I love him. So yeah, what did you guys think about the chapter? Did you guys enjoy it? And feel free to talk about, the chapters I've missed along with this one. Or if you want to talk about Hakuri and how much you like him and how he's growing and how he's changed, along with his very sad backstory, feel free to share it down below. I'd love to talk about it because it is a lot to unwind. Like, this chapter was pretty sad, and I really felt for Hakuri. Like, he met this lady, he ate food with her, he sat with her, he talked with her, she healed his wounds. He found someone he could truly connect with, which wasn't somebody from his family. This is probably the first time he's ever interacted in such a positive light with anybody. So to see her, kill herself, it's a lot to take in. And it's devastating, and it could really break you mentally. It really is a lot to take in. But yeah, if you want to talk about any of that, I'll be down to respond. But I think I've talked about the chapter a little too long. That'll do it for me. I'll do my best to talk about the chapters again as I have normally. And that's it. Peace out, and take care, everyone.